Welcome to the shores of Lake Quassapog in Middlebury, Connecticut, and Quassy Amusement Park. I wanted to do an updated walkthrough of this park because there are quite a few changes since the last one. And one of them you can see on the left, the red fence, which runs now all around the park. Quassy is now a gated amusement park. It used to be you could just walk in and buy tickets per ride, but now you have to buy an all-ride day pass. And that you would do ahead of us at the ticket booth, which we'll go through straight ahead. Quassy opened in 1908, and it's one of only few trolley parks left in the United States. It has, as you can see, a huge water park, and that's really where the management has been putting their attention over the past few years. They've greatly expanded the offerings in the water park, and it's very, very popular. And the park, managed by Eric Anderson and George Francis II, they have been doing an amazing job bringing this park into a new era. Now, the day we were there was, as you can see, really overcast. A couple little blue patches up there, but that wouldn't last long. Within a few hours, it was a torrential downpour, and the park had to close. And a lot of people knew that, so you're not going to find a lot of people in the park on this day because there were severe thunderstorm alerts going on the whole day. So this is the ticket booth entrance, and here's where you walk in to the park. There's the Music Fest, and this would be the last year the Music Fest would be in that position. The bumper cars, you can see the water slides over there, and here is Splashaway Bay, which is their continually growing water park. It was simply overcast when I started my walkthrough, but as you can see now, the rain is starting to come down. Not many takers on the water park on that day. There's the paratrooper. And we have some game booths. Now, when we entered from the ticket booths, we went a little bit to the right, but there wasn't much other than the few rides you saw there. Most of the Midway is off to the left in this area, and we're going to make a counterclockwise swoop along that Midway. The park is not very big. It's only about 20 acres, and it has about 20 rides at this point, and a small kiddie land. But most of the rides really are made for families, so small children and adults can ride together. The zoo over here is just a little playground for kids. Here's the entrance to Splashaway Bay. And they have changing rooms and everything in there. The big building in front of us on the left is the park's main restaurant, which serves pretty darn good food. There's a little path that you can take. We're going to swing by toward the lake area here. Here's a little kiddie land with some classic Herschel rides there. There's a little picnic area here, so if you have an outing, you might have a little picnic under this tent here. And there's Lake Quassapog. They have paddle boats you can rent. Here's the restaurant with a whole bunch of picnic tables, which of course were not being used on that rainy day. And they also have, as you can see in the distance there, a pontoon boat that goes out on the lake during the normal season. And there's the ice cream booth over there, and Tidal Wave, which is the pirate boat ride. The big white building is the park's arcade, which used to be their roller rink. And we're going to swing around the side. There are a couple more kiddie rides in this area. There's the Little Dipper, which has a nice new flashy sign up there. That's another classic Herschel ride. And you can see inside a little classic Herschel boat ride.
Hello.
Over there on the left is one of the entrances to the arcade. The covered area in front of us is the Trolley Stop Pavilion, and that's another picnic area they have. Over on the left are the kiddie bumper cars. And in front of us now is Frantic, which is one of the park's newer rides. It's basically a small spinning frisbee type ride. On the right is Bella and Bessie's Pizzeria, which, as you might expect, serves pizza. There goes the train in the distance, and the Quassy train station is over on the left there. It's a nice long ride around their big field. Over on the right here are some more games. And in front of us is the Quassy Fieldside Pavilion, which is a really big pavilion. If you have a really big outing, that's normally where you go. They have their own cooking stations in there and everything. And as you can see, there's over on the left, there's a little seating area with a fire pit, which doesn't do any good on a rainy day like this. And this coaster that you see was the thing that really put Quassy on the map for me. It was a pretty audacious thing for a small park like this to do, to put in a large wooden coaster. It's a family coaster. It's an unusual layout too, a T. It's called Wooden Warrior, and it is an amazing ride. They had for years done a Wooden Warrior Day on the beginning of May, when they opened the park for the first time. And it brought in about 200 coaster enthusiasts. Seems like there's not a lot to do in the park for other coaster enthusiasts besides the little Herschel kiddie coaster and Wooden Warrior. But I just find the park very relaxing to be in. There's not a lot you need to do. It's basically a getaway. There goes the bumper cars. And let's take a walk inside the arcade. Unfortunately, no pinball machines in here, but they do have plenty of games, and they still have, over on the right here, a redemption center, so you can trade in tickets that you get for toys. You can see a big black wall there. There's a laser tag arena over there. It's a pretty sizable building. So let's head back out onto the Midway now. In front of us is Reverse Time, which is basically like a tray band. Over here on the right is a gift shop. There's some really nice t-shirts in there and other little Quassy themed gifts. And way over there on the right is the park's Grand Carousel, along with the Carousel Theater, where they have shows all during the season. There's a mister in front of us, that red thing. The Carousel was an antique originally, and decades ago the park decided to sell it when the value of carousel horses was high, and they took that money and they reinvested it in the park. Carousel enthusiasts weren't happy with that, but it was a good financial decision for the park. And over here is Bouncing Buggies. And in front of us on the right is another ice cream place. There's lots of shade in this park, which of course is really nice on a hot day. So even though they have picnic tables out here without any umbrellas over them, the trees usually provide enough shade to make it an enjoyable place to stay. Now over here, in front of us, is the entrance to Wooden Warrior. Now, Wooden Warrior opened in 2011, and it was a revelation at the time. It used a new type of train that could basically fit anyone. Whether you're a big adult or a small child, it holds you securely. The trains track beautifully on this ride, and it's just one airtime hill after another. It's a really, really fun ride. And with that, we're moving back up to the parking lot. On the left here is the restrooms for the park. And that concludes our tour. So if you're in the Western Connecticut area, it's worth a stop. Whether you have little kids or not, it's just a really pleasant place to stay. It's not really expensive, and it provides some really good food, lots of shade, and a really great coaster. So, I encourage you all to stop by Quassy Amusement Park, one of only 11 at this point trolley parks left in the United States.